Hello everybody, welcome to the Malbeefance channel. If you've been following along with us, welcome back. This is the second episode for Strategic Command American Civil War. And if you've been following along the first episode, not a lot happening. Tiny amount of Union forces that are in the game have advanced into Northern Virginia. We have taken Alexandria along the Manassas River, and also the Missouri Volunteers are advancing on Jefferson City. And then there's a couple other units that are occupying areas throughout Missouri. And then the naval forces, what little there is, have deployed out here into Chesapeake Bay and then down around Nolens at the end of the Mississippi River. Okay, so we'll go ahead and see if we can't knock out a couple more turns here in the next 30 minutes or so. And let's just go ahead and advance the turn and see what we get. All right, so we got to make a decision. Fort Monroe on the tip of Virginia Peninsula is the only remaining part of Virginia that has not fallen under rebel control. Obviously, it is strategically important because it is right there overlooking the James River and the Chesapeake Bay. Do we wish to reinforce with Major General Benjamin Butler's brigade of volunteers to the fort? It'll cost us 25 production points, but it will also give us Fort Monroe. Yes, we most certainly do wish to do that. So Benjamin Butler arrives in Fort Monroe, and the Confederates celebrate the secession of North Carolina. General McClellan takes command of the Department of the Ohio. There is a really bad Ohio joke that I know. I'll spare you. Maybe I won't. Union warships in Hampton Roads blockade Norfolk. Kentucky issues a declaration of neutrality. Mexican bandit Juan Cortina launches an unsuccessful incursion into the held Texas. Now, this is a little bit of a history because it starts in 1859 and it's called the Cortina Wars. This guy's mother inherited land around Brownsville, Texas, and they wanted it back, but Texas declared its independence. And so that's basically the catalyst for all of this. In 1848, Guadalupe Hidalgo Treaty basically said you don't get it back, and a local war against Brownville ensued. The Cortinas basically went to war. A family went to war with Texas, but they were defeated at the Battle of Rio Grande in 1859, and so this historical event is a little bit off time-wise, but still, though, it's an interesting piece of history. So here's our ledger for next turn. And the computer is, it says replace special. I have no idea what it's doing. Okay, now it's thinking again. All right, fleet movement. So yeah, so they got the gunboat out of there, or the riverboat. All right, anything else? So as I had mentioned in the previous two episodes, the first couple of turns are really going to be not a lot's going on. Okay, so the Confederacy moves their government to Richmond, Virginia. This is not just a political decision. This is also an industrial decision that was very important. Richmond is a huge industrial complex at this point in history, and having the capital there is significant. Okay, Union warships in Hampton Roads blockade Norfolk. And calculating supply for our side. right, there's our activity summary and intelligence reports. We've spotted a brigade in Carrollton, Arkansas. More advice. So the Confederacy will be receiving 500 fighting spirit for each turn that they hold Richmond. They're also receiving fighting spirit for other places that they're holding, but Richmond is the biggest contributor. Back in my initial introductory video for this game, I had mentioned that the balance, the play balance, favors the computer. And one of the things that I forgot to mention in that episode is that not only is the Union losing fighting spirit because we're not occupying those southern capitals, but the Confederate is also gaining fighting spirit for occupying those capitals. All right, so more naval vessels deploying, and the bank's headquarters. So now I'm not going to get into the histories of a lot of these generals, okay, because they really are a mixed bag. I mean, there are some generals that were incompetent. There were other generals that were actually good generals, but history has recorded it differently. So I'm just staying away from it. Because I mean everybody's going to have their own opinion, and what I'm concerned about is what my generals do in this game. So right now, Banks and Butler and um, Fremont are the only generals that I've got. So I am going to work with them. All right, now here's an opening move that may or may not help me, but I'm going to give it a shot. Alright, we might actually just do this. Alright. Alright, excellent. Better than I had hoped. Okay, now I know from experience the Confederates have forces here in Fredericksburg, and I'm not interested in a meeting engagement this early on in the game. I just want to move up here into the trees so that these guys have got a decent um, defensive position. But I am going to rush Harper's Ferry so that we can grab that major junction point, and it'll also cause an issue with the computer to go ahead and be moving reinforcements up here instead of focusing them on trying to take DC. So now I'm only able to move the railroad one hex at a time. This is to simulate the fact that they have to regauge. Sometimes they got to regauge the railroad tracks. So now that's really as far as I want to go because I don't want to get him too far. I want to be able to create a bit of a defensive line with what little forces I have here. Alright, so that takes care of Northern Virginia. Let's go ahead and see what ships I have that I'm able to move. Alright, and then there's this guy that I've been trying to move. Alright, so I'm going to have him stop right there so that he can resupply before I have him head on down to the Mississippi. So I'll have him resupply and he can repair. Okay, so now the Army of the Ohio, such as it is, go ahead and advance these guys through West Virginia. I'm glad I remembered to take wheeling. That is actually something that I forget to do a lot. I forget that I got to backtrack and take wheeling. All right, and this guy I want to help out over in Virginia. Okay. So now, as I mentioned in the previous episode, this is actually a blocking force. I'm going to use them as a blocking force. They're going to come down. They're going to get as far as Beckley and Lewisburg if I'm lucky, and they'll go ahead and they'll hold off Confederate forces trying to push north from there. Oops. Okay, so I'll have that brigade take New Madrid, and then they'll come back up here, and there'll be a defensive force for Confederate forces that are going to come up through Greenville. All right, now I'm going to need him to get to Fort Davison. So unfortunately, I had a meeting engagement there. It was unavoidable because of the rain. All right, now do what we can to surround Jefferson City. Sooner or later, I got to get down here to Wilson's Creek. There's a story behind that. I'll tell you later. All right, so I got to keep running him. I got to keep force marching him down here as quickly as I can. And I believe that's going to do it. Okay, so Mississippi Delta, Missouri, New Mexico territories, West Virginia. Can't move this guy yet. Northern Virginia. We're able to take out the fort here, so that's a good start. All right, so let's go to research and development. So I've got my 2 chits in infantry equipment and corps organization. I've the game has already spent 2 for me at the start of the game. They already got industrial technology. Production technology decreases the purchase cost of a unit. So, but I'm going to hit because Union generals, going to hit them up first. All right, so we got 430 left. And production technology. I got to get at least 1 in there. Okay, so I can only do a 150 left. So infantry tactics, skirmishers, scouts. Yeah, scouts. The scouts increase the spotting range of my infantry units. For those of you that didn't already know. All right, so that only leaves me 31 points left, so we'll go ahead and we'll bank that for next turn. That is going to do it for this turn. And all right, so let's go ahead and advance the turn and see what we get. All right, so processing events, what do we get? Spain extends belligerency status to the Confederacy. General Irwin McDowell takes command of the Maryland Volunteers. Every general that helps, no matter how incompetent they might look. Union warships blockade the Hampton Roads. War Department reports progress in spying and intelligence up to 29%. There's our ledger. So yeah, so the various Western territories are sending in supplies, resource points. And so, yeah, so the town guard there in Jefferson City has reinforced itself. And the computer is doing what it does. Oh, our riverboat is back. See if we can get him this time. Let's see, what else do we get? So yes, there are not a lot of units on the board. So there's not a lot of spotting that can be done. Um, so even the computer is limited. So there's my meeting engagement with the defenders of Fredericksburg, and happily it went in my favor so far. But now they're going to gang up on them. Now the first like 2-3 turns, there's like 10 brigades the Confederacy gets around Richmond. So I'm already outnumbered on this front. It's going to be fun seeing if I can hold the line. I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm deploying as many brigades over here instead of in other locations. I know I'm outnumbered. So yeah, so that Ohio joke, what's tall, wide in the middle, and narrow on both ends? Oh, hi, oh. I told you it was a bad joke. All right. So anything else from the computer? Or should I say the Confederates? Nope. All right, so we're moving into our turn. Calculating supply. All right, Union warships blockading Hampton Roads. And cavalry spotted near Van Buren, Arkansas. The Sabine frigate deploys. And that is it for reinforcements this turn. And since they're starting me up here in New England, let's go ahead and handle all of those guys first. So these are my teleporters here. Like, okay, so if I leave somebody sitting here, after 2 turns, they'll show up at Key West. And as a matter of fact, I'm sending these gunboats. They go in here, and this one's going to take them down to Nolans. But right now, I want all my frigates up here. Now, right now, these are the only. Let me zoom out. Well, okay, that's not going to work. These are the only 2 supply lines that are coming into overseas supplies coming into the Confederacy at the moment. And so I'm going to try and get some frigates out here to try and interdict that. Now, in case you were wondering, there is a limit to how far up these rivers frigates can go. That's where the riverboats come in handy. All right, so that should take care of my naval units in the Atlantic. Let's go ahead and see what we can do on the Northern Virginia front. Okay, so nobody's in Warrenton, so I'm going to take the opportunity to grab it. Now, something I want to show you. Remember partisans, guerrillas, that sort of thing? Okay, so here they are for here. Now, these are locations. If I don't have somebody in this location or adjacent to it, they will actually spawn a rebel unit. Okay. So yeah, so now that I've taken Warrenton, now that this area is under Union control, I gotta make sure that I've got a unit around here, either in that hex or adjacent to it. So it's part of the reason why you'll see me leaving the railroad unit. Okay, so put Banks in Alexandria. Now it's still, all these guys are still 1-to-1 on him. I don't know if I want to attack, because I mean they're going to have reinforcements that are going to come up, and they're going to, more than likely, they're going to try and gang up on this guy. And right now I got to play defensively, and I got to play smart defensively. So despite the fact that I really want to go after him, Now, there's probably going to be a guy in Winchester. And there he goes. He'll defend Cumberland, Maryland. All right. Okay, so I can take Morgantown, but I want to stay away from Philippi as much as possible. Just one less place I got a garrison. Alright, continuing to work my way across the Ohio. Go ahead and upgrade the engines on that Timberclad. And now that brings us back to this guy. Get him up there to St. Genevieve. Oh, okay. Something else that I forgot to mention. One of the things that happens in this game, I don't recall if it happens in Strategic Command World War I, but in ACW, if you spend a turn adjacent to another unit, when you attack the next turn, your odds are going to be a little bit better because it's considered a prepared attack. And I'm basically doing everything I can to have enough forces to swing Jefferson City next turn. Alright, so that should be everybody here in Missouri. And again, I still can't move these guys. I'm not going to be able to move them until the various Indian territories join one side or the other. If we do nothing, if we do not put any production into diplomacy, most of the Indian territories are going to join the Confederacy, and then up here at Fort Belmont, the Osage tribe will join the Union. All right, so all right, knock somebody out. I need to get my victories where I can. The Union is just, it's bleeding fighting spirit. Arterial bleeding fighting spirit. Alright, I think that's going to be everybody. So, yep. Alright. Check their supply. They're good. Alright, so on to research and development. Finish maxing this out if I can. So, where do we want to go? Production technology. And the second one in scouts, I'm going to overspend to bounce that up as much as I can. I'm the Union, so I really don't get a lot in the way of cavalry, so I don't really get a lot of scout capability. So I got to push it where I can. So are we maxed out yet? Nope. So where else can we go? Infantry technology. So that's going to improve things like morale and stuff like that. Now, I don't put a lot into skirmishers. I really don't push them. Basically, what skirmishers do is if you have those assigned to a unit, if you got that upgrade, they basically do extra morale damage to a unit when you attack them. So, and then what do I got left? I got 317 left, so let's start on cavalry equipment. Maximum, oh, okay, so I only got 150 I can put left in research and development. Okay, so let's have a look here. Where do I want to do that? Cavalry tactics. can go there. Amphibious warfare definitely is a good idea. I don't have enough for naval weaponry, but I do have enough for ironclads, which is going to become important. So, okay, so that maxes out funding. Do I have enough left to buy anything? River ironclad, yep, we're going to need some of those. Can I get the better engines? Yes, I can. All right, so let's put that in the pipeline. And that's only going to leave me with 2, so we're done there. All right. Okay, so that is going to do it for this episode. If you've made it this far, thanks again. Please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, share, please. Somebody you think is going to like this stuff, let's help grow the channel. Um, Remember, we 1,000 subscribers by 2030. Let's do it. So, all right, so all jokes aside, thanks again, and I will see you on the next one.